The following program is suitable for general audience of any age. The following program contains opinions of the participants and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network. The network believes in a safe space for all ideas to be expressed without any censorship and on its duty to create such a platform for free speech. Viewer discretion is strictly advised.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of TPS, the Public Square, where we discuss about the most relevant and pressing conversations that shape the political landscape of Sri Lanka. And today's topic is something relevant and something that we have been witnessing throughout the couple of last weeks, and that is about the post situation from Cyclone Ditwa, because we see that we all as Sri Lankans have faced a critical situation where 22 districts out of the 25 have been affected. And today's topic is nothing new, but something relevant to the current situation, which is about the climate resilience, sustainability and future policy directions. So to discuss about this topic, I have two gentlemen over here. Towards my left, I have Mr. Akalanka Serasinghe, representing the National People's Power. Welcome you to today's program. Also towards my right, I have Dr. Maheem Mendis, representing the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. Welcome you as well. All right, gentlemen. So now, given the context, I believe you all are in the situation and you witnessed and you are in the process of making sure that the futuristic aspect is woven together as well. So let me direct first to you. When it comes to the current situation, what do you think is the most crucial thing? Now we do understand there are mechanisms and there are certain reforms and everything's coming into the play. But then again, as the NPP government, what is the most important thing that you have identified in the post-recovery situation from Cyclone Ditwa?
Yeah, now the thing is, now there's a clear law that we have to follow to control such kind of disaster. So especially the Sri Lanka Disaster Management Act number 13 of 2005, which was enacted solely because of the tsunami disaster occurred 2 decades ago, nearly, more than 2 decades ago. So as a result of tsunami disaster, the then government decided to enact this particular legislation. Yeah, and if in line with your question, yes, now as you can see, can we go forward with this particular act, and whether this act is suffice to, control the dilemma aftermath of the disaster. So problem is, now for inception, just after the disaster, the Honorable President has decided to, as an initial step, he has decided to give a flood relief package that we all know, right? So this is the first time in history that a larger scale or larger amount has allocated through the government treasury to distribute for the people as a flood relief. So I'm not going to waste my time to pinpoint those for each and every reliefs, but generally there's an issue of the enactment, the 2005 Act. The issue is that, as you can see, that the President also discussed with the government officials, there's a problem of the connection with the relevant authorities, with the main body that we are discussing, which is related with this topic, is the National Council of Disaster Management. So that particular body was not gathered since 2000, I mean, it was just gathered 7 years later, just after, I mean, it was gathered in last August. So see, from that, at that point, it was not gathered 8 years ago. So after NPP came into power, this is the first time the Disaster Management Council was gathered. So some people might say that government has not properly taken steps, but we have taken the initial step. But unfortunately, we have to face this disaster. The problem is, although the law is there, this particular act is not integrated with relevant authorities such as RDA and Health Ministry, and there are other necessary institutions as well. So I can't see a proper integration with this act. So we are looking forward to that as well, to enact a new act. So other than that, we are working, we are going forward with the, the reliefs that we are going to provide to the people.
Yeah, I'll get into that actually. Now, when it comes to your response, there has been a gap. So I want to ask from you, Doctor, now, do you think, now let's keep the party politics aside because this is a common situation for Sri Lanka. Do you agree with all the steps that the government is taking towards the recovery, the resilience, getting back into a strong country, whatever the propositions that the President gave about as well?
I do not want to sound self-righteous and enter into a blame game. This is a national crisis that the opposition and the government should collectively address. Now, I will be failing in my obligation towards the people if I say that the government on behalf of the state, when I say that, I'm not blaming the NPP government. The government on behalf of the state and its infrastructure had not been fair by the people. That includes the, however much we are thankful for the people in authority, the meteorological department and various other disaster management authority, it is nothing but right that they at least learn a lesson from what has happened, because this is not the first time disasters have occurred, unprecedented crisis, and they need to act firmly, decisively, and in a timely manner. Now, we can say we cannot be blaming the President for the actions he's taking now. He's taking actions now, but very clearly, in line with the legislation provides space for the authorities to take into consideration whatever the warnings that were given and to act swiftly and in a decisive manner in communicating the disaster to the people and also preparing the government machinery for timely evacuation. Now, when the leader of the opposition, Mr. Sajith Premadasa, talked about the need, that there was a need very clearly for an emergency to be declared, well, that is not Mr. Sajith Premadasa's wishful thinking. That is already there in the legislation that this gentleman referred to. And it is enabler. It is an enabler. Enable the authorities to take measures, extraordinary measures are needed in order to ensure that the people are moved into the right locations. It is a situation where you take into consideration, not in the aftermath of the disaster, but in line with the warnings that were given nearly 2 weeks before the disaster, regionally and internationally, to take measures. And those obviously have a lot of, spaces where we need to be careful about. We cannot afford to make another mistake.
Yes, Dr. Maheem, I'm going to stop you from there because we need to go for a short commercial break. Yes, We do understand that perspective as well. There are two different perspectives. So there's a perspective of how the disaster management was having a gap of in terms of reaction, and also how there might have been concerns in taking proper actions with regards to the certain evacuation announcements and whatsoever. So let's discuss deep into what the current situation is and what is the future plans in terms of recovering Sri Lanka. So before that, let's go in for a short commercial break. This is The Public Square. Welcome back to the Public Square on other Derana news channel. So, Mr. Serasinghe, now when it comes to the current situation, I believe the entire country is working for the recovery with volunteers and everything. And also, the President mentioned the allocation of 25,000 and also 50,000 of allowances for the people who have lost essentially the lands itself. Now, something that comes in hand with this situation is transparency and accountability. So, how do you think that the government will work around with making sure that these allowances and these monetary funds will be appropriately given to the most required and essential people, because there might be corruption ongoing as well, because there has been a history of that. So how do your government work around with that?
Well, we are going to distribute those reliefs through the Gramanirdhari, and I mean there's a proper procedure to that. So now that 25,000, I mean that particular relief was allocated to clean the houses and those stuff, and also for the those who, I mean the students who lost their study packs and those stuff. For that, that's the 25,000 allocation. And as you mentioned, for those who lost their premises and also the land, if one person lost both the house and the land, he's getting almost 10 million as a compensation, as a relief. And also for house, 5 million. And also if it is partially, if the house is partially destroyed, then he's getting 2.5 million. So it goes like that. So this is the first time a government has allocated a very expensive flood relief package. This is the first time in history. And also we have taken step, I mean from yesterday the government has taken steps to distribute that 25,000 relief for the students, those who lost their study bags, and also for the other affected people who have to, clean their houses and for those issues. And as soon as possible, we are hoping to cover up those, those who display, the problems of the people those who displaced, and also who lost their houses, and also those who lost their business premises, vehicles, etc., etc. So we are not taking, longer period of time. As soon as possible, we are going to solve those issues, because it's very difficult to get over from a kind of this kind of disaster, because it's not just a flooding, it's a drought. It's a very, heavy nature of disaster. So anyway, this is the way we are approaching.
All right. So with that, I want to ask from you now, with the current situation, since we are looking to the futuristic aspect of bringing about the resilience of the country. Now, we see countries like India and then UAE, also China, and all these countries are coming together in terms of supporting Sri Lanka to recover. So do you think this as a positive sentiment in the futuristic aspect, where we can actually have this partnership and make sure that the country is utilizing all these fundings for a proper recovery?
It is not anything extraordinary that the government right now gets whatever assistance that they get. And we have always maintained very good relations in post-independence Sri Lanka. But the thing is, whatever lessons that they offer from their own situation, and whatever lessons that we should have absorbed into our own system, in meeting what we face wisely, with wisdom, is what is lacking. For instance, in the context of disaster governance system, when we talk about resilience, the people are resilient. The people, fortunately, have the courage to face, whether it be the tsunami, the COVID, they have faced all these crises. But institutionally, it is nothing but right that the government establishes the correct infrastructure, competent authorities, people, in order to face these situations wisely and provide the benchmarks needed in order to ensure that lives of the people will remain stable. Now, it is institutional side which is lagging behind and lacking, and we need enlightened policy, whatever the government it may be. Right now we have the Malimawa government, but how are we going to face these situations wisely for the future? Infrastructure, structural arrangements have to be right. Without the structural arrangements, infrastructure cannot be put right. We need to learn a lot of lessons from the neighboring lands, and they are prepared to offer a lot of expertise, but we cannot be learners all the time, because this is not the first time we are facing. We should be, and we should have been, as I said in my earlier response, we were not responsible enough in meeting the needs of the people, knowing very clearly that the situation is going to be unprecedented. By 12th November, they warned regionally, internationally, the BBC, the international media warned us. But we were, as a government, as a people, the Sri Lanka Administrative Service of experts should have been more responsive, because we are dealing with our people. And this crisis proved beyond reasonable doubt that the state is not prepared. Whatever the government it may be, the state has failed the people.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to ask a follow-up question from you, Mr. Serasinghe. Now, given that comment, now he says that all these news, BBC and every other media mentioned that there is a situation coming up like this. And now we face this situation as well. And now again, today in news in BBC, they are mentioning from today till the 11th or 12th, there's going to be storms around Colombo. So is this something that you all are going to neglect, or is this something that you all are trying to work around with the lessons that you learned with the current situation or the post-cyclone Ditwa?
No, as a government, government also shares a certain kind of responsibility. And yes, we have learned a lesson, true. But it's not only, I mean, government is not only the body who is responsible, even people, and I mean, we all are responsible for what has happened. So, yes, I mean, and also we have not got a proper warning about this incident. And I mean, as Dr. Mahi mentioned, he mentioned that there's no proper competent authorities. Yes, statutorily we have formed through 2005 Act 2 competent authorities, the National Council of Disaster Management and National Council Center. But the problem is the Special National Council of Disaster Management has not been active for last 7 years. So we have just, gathered the particular council last August, this August rather, August 2025. So, and unexpectedly, government, the state itself, the nation itself faced this disaster. So, as a quick solution, now we are going to, help the people to rebuild their houses, and also as a government we are trying to reopen the schools as well, and try to put them back to their normal life. So we are working on that. Also, we are getting aids from the we are getting foreign aids through leading economies such as China, India, and USA. So we are getting that support as well, and also private individuals also supporting, and also government also, continuing that process as well with the government officials. Yes, as I mentioned before, there's a lacking of the integration. Especially if you are referring to this act, the integration with the other institutions, with this National Council, of Disaster Management, with the other institutions such as RDA and other institutions. Because of the lack of integration, it's very difficult to, give precautions against a major disasters. So this is not just a flooding; it's a drought. It's a very, dreadful disaster. So we are looking forward to bring up a new act as well, but it's a long-term thing. But until that, we are try to, we try to execute that flood relief fund, relief as well, and also put back people in their previous position to their normal life.
Yeah, so now in that context, now you all are working on the present condition of making sure that all the people are back to their normal lives. But also in the futuristic way, it is essential to put a full stop into the vacuum or the challenges and the issues we had. Now, something that we are looking forward, or as if the government mentioned, is the rapid financing instrument from the IMF, because they are making sure that a certain funding is coming to the futuristic aspect of the recovery. So how will this contribute in terms of making sure that the long-term reforms are fruitful and positive?
Yeah, we are, after the disaster even, we are working with the IMF, and we are hoping to get another assistance from the IMF in future as well. So we are working on that as well. And apart from that, we are, as a government, to avoid this kind of disaster, we are thinking about reforestation. And initially we have, discussing about the areas which are more than 5,000 feet to we are discussing to reforest those areas. And that's the initial step, but it may be vary in future. And also, as Dr. Maheem mentioned, we have to think about a proper mechanism of how to build houses in those areas, because some are unauthorized construction, some are, there are issues that the relevant authorities has not properly think about the condition of the soil. So those issues are also there. So it's a complex problem, but I think rapidly we can overcome from that issues.
All right, Dr. Maheem, now given the situation now, it's not only about, getting to the houses, getting the land, making sure the health and everything is stabilized, but also in the long-term purview, it is also necessary that we don't go back to the same situation where we faced and the country disrupts with the same conditions. So what do you think that the government should urgently address? I believe government plus the opposition, all the parties should collaborate in this situation, not in terms of party politics, but coming together as one Sri Lanka. So in that condition, what do you suggest that we should work around with positively for the futuristic element?
What I see is that both the government and the opposition need to take provincial governance seriously. Provincial governance is defunct. Provincial council administration is vital. And urban and local authorities, local governance, provincial governance become a prerequisite in order to face disasters of such magnitude. We need to trust our people. We need to empower our people. our authorities, provincial authorities, could have done a marvelous job in a crisis of this nature if they were functional. Now, it is of the lessons to be learned. In response to your question, it is nothing but right that even at this stage, we take provincial governance seriously. Without it, disaster democracy to deal with disasters will be chaotic. And institutionally, we cannot do that through central government measures alone. Acute centralization is something that the current government should learn from the regime that was ousted. The Gotabaya Rajapaksa regime was ousted for acute centralization, and they relied on the military. We have the highest respect for the military, but the military is not a solution in times of this nature. They can only facilitate relief operations, but civilian administration is vital. We cannot afford to see civilian institutions replaced as if military has the ultimate solutions, because local governance will have bright perspectives in order to save the situation provincially and at district level. So I take this opportunity to tell the government that we cannot afford to postpone any longer functional provincial administration, and not only that, not mere structural arrangements of that nature, that and the people who man these. We have had local government elections. These representatives need to be trained properly, and the administrative side of local governance also need to be trained properly. There is so much insights that they are able to gain, they should be able to gain from the neighboring countries, including India. So we have to take provincial administration seriously. Without it, the central government will not be able to perform this effectively, even with regard to grassroots level, what we call the BIM Mattama. We will not be able to eliminate corruption and all that, because the local authorities need to be responsible to the people, and they know the people and the problems that they face.
All right, I think that was a perspective with regards to thinking through in a futuristic element as well, how important it is for the provincial governments to also get involved in the situation of making sure these kind of situations don't arise in the upcoming future. So let's go in for a short commercial break before we get into the last segment of making sure what are the positivities of the futuristic element. This is the Public Square. Welcome back. You're joining with the Public Square, and we have come to the final segment in terms of discussing the most futuristic elements of the post-Ditwa situation. So as a representative from the government itself, I believe the people are having a lot of faith and hope towards whatever the reforms and the policy arrangements that the government is posting after the post-cyclone Ditwa, because I believe none of us really saw it this disruptive, but then again, I believe there's a positive sentiment in the way you all address the post situation. So how much do you guarantee that whatever the plans that you have come across will be executed 100%, and what are the other upcoming plans that will make sure that Sri Lanka is recovering from all sorts of aspects, not just in terms of the resources or let's say houses and the facilities, but also in terms of the economy, the businesses, the tourism. So what's the take on that?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, first of all, we have to bring up a strong legislature. So currently we are having a legislature which was enacted 20 years ago. So there are issues, as I mentioned. The legislature itself lacking the integration of the relevant authorities with the with the two bodies of Disaster Management Council and the other body. So that issue still persists, so we have to get rid of that as well through a new legislature. So we are working on that. And also the other aspect is the displaced people, I mean especially the people who lost their houses and lands. So we are trying our best as a government to hand over them the government, I mean proper lands, suitable lands which are owned by the government as an alternative. And also as we mentioned before, through our flood relief package, we have allocated 5 million for the house and 5 million for the land as well. So we are working on that process currently, and also we have already cleared a lot of roadways and other, I mean also there are a lot of few main bridges also destroyed, and we have temporarily restructured it to ease the transport as well. So we are working on that. And also, as I mentioned before, the reforestation, we are thinking about reforestation as well. So we have to bring up a proper action plan for that. And also we should focus on the mental health of the people as well. So people, by and large, the people believe with the government, and also the positive sign is that now we are concerning on bringing a new legislature, so that is lacking there. And also Dr. Mahi mentioned that as a result of no provincial council, the government is in a difficulty to execute their decisions, but I am not agree with that. Through our policy paper also, we are planning to give more power to the councils. So, but anyway, we are not in a hurry, but we are planning to bring the election as well, the provincial council election. But anyway, before that, we have to somehow mitigate the losses that people have occurred as a result of this disaster. So we are working on that.
All right, thank you so much. And I really want a very short and sweet comment with regards to the optimism and the positivity going forward, how the opposition, all parties will collaborate with the government and make sure Sri Lanka is fruitful again.
What I can say is that a fundamental question needs to be raised. We have a state for what purpose? To meet whose needs? We cannot, especially in a context where institutions and the governments have been questioned and democracy had been in crisis in Sri Lanka, we cannot let the people lose faith in the system at large. If the people lose faith in democracy because of centralization, and they will think that this is the way to deal with matters, they need to, though my friend said that he does not think that the provincial, I don't know whether he really meant that the provincial council elections should not be held as soon as possible.
No, it can be held, but because we have to, first of all, we have to face this disaster, and then we are planning on that.
So futuristically, all what I can say, as I said earlier, we need to take our people into confidence. We need to have decentralized power structures. We need to make our people, officials, and the mandated representatives responsible to the state, the government, the society at large. And it is in the best interests that we take these things seriously, because this current cyclone is only a preview of what could happen for the future. How are we approaching this subject? Many things could go wrong in the future if we do not take the structural arrangements seriously.
All right, I believe that is a big call to action as well. So I want to thank Mr. Akalanka Serasinghe and also Dr. Maheem Mendis for joining today's program. We have our fingers crossed in terms of recovering from this situation, because this is not just a cyclone, but also a situation where we need to rethink about the policies, the forms, and also the infrastructure and the landscape of Sri Lanka. So don't forget to send your feedback to our email address, feedback.adncenglish@then.lk, over WhatsApp at 07680579333. We will see you again with another episode of The Public Square. Till then, take care, be safe, and have a good night.